My name is Aurélien Delchet. I'm a French architect and urban designer. 5 years ago, actually, we started an office called Georges with two landscape engineers and 2 architects. We founded that office, now we're quite a few, and we're working on different projects. So we're based in Paris and Nantes. I'll present a project in Nantes quickly, but most of our reflections or the main themes of a project are based on the ecology of the project and the economy of the project. So there's one, it's the territorial ecosystem, so the environment, and the social and cultural environment too. And we merge them together and we form a new ecosystem. I hope the word in English is ecosystem is fine. Yeah, okay. Just making sure. And the economy of the project is pretty much the same, but we're based on the, well, pretty much the economy on the local built environment, or the local companies, or all the labor, like timber or concrete or everything, but just local. And we have the governments up there in the process, where we try to avoid that thing like coming from the top and going down to the bottom, like the way you used to do in France, where you had like an urban designer designing a plan, says this is my plan, now good luck with it, and we'll try to build the thing. Which had quite a few issues, like economical issues. We don't have the funds anymore to do it, and we had other issues, like was mentioned earlier, just like the building of places where people would recognize and use the space. Most of the things you see in France these days, like you take a photo of the new area or the new quarter, it could be in Lille, in Marseille, or even in London or somewhere. It's all the same, always the same build form. It's no territorial attachment to it. It's pretty difficult to us as designers. So here is an ongoing project. As we started the office 5 years ago. We won that. We were fairly young, and we had to team up with reassuring practice, because our beard is not grey enough to tell the local authorities, because it's a public sector project. So it's the renovation of military base, 15 minutes north of the main train station in Nantes, just south here. And what we inherited from is a capacity study from another urban designer who did not even talk or look at what was happening around. So, okay, we have 1,700 homes to build here. Let's put a green belt around it, and we're not really interested with the small houses, city houses that are around, and we'll see what we can do. So there's a public consultation we bid for the project with that other office, TGTFP. So they were urbanists, they were architects, and we were urbanist landscape architect, and we had a role to play. That is something we wanted to defend, was something new about the public consultation. It was like, we will talk to the people and make sure that we will have something interesting in the new design, and we will make places and develop a city for everyone. So we came up first with a process, a method, which was quite difficult to explain at the first time, because public consultation in France used to be for a long time, it's just communication. Once the project is done, hey everyone, here's what it's going to look like. And here it's totally different in 2 main phases. The first one was a shared survey. We put the local people, or with the help of the city, we identified or selected a panel of local inhabitants around. And we put those people as experts to tell us what the site is and how it really works. Because we, as designers, we know, we see the buildings, we see the streets, we see everything, that's fine, but just the way people use the space and the way it works, and where do they go shopping, and how they move or commute towards within the city, it's their story. So we wanted to share that thing, and so at the beginning we had like a public thing. So of course there's always the city helping us organizing with a website. they have 2 persons on site, like in the neighborhood, talking to inhabitants, residents. So we organized that main event. 300 people show up, quite successful. We got lucky, thanks to the city of Nantes. And then we went to the market. We had a stall with a map, pins, just like over there. And just tell us the story. Tell us your neighborhood. How do you live in there? And then we did interviews with local associations and small businesses. Whether they should be interested or they were interested in helping developing or occupying like a small store temporarily on in the area, or they would help designing or doing things in the process of building that new area. And then there's it's like a walk with the elected people and the crowd. So we were on site and they were all talking, oh, look at that, there's a gate, there's a wall, there's a tree, we should preserve that. This is very interesting, this doesn't work. Well, they will tell us what the site is, and the elected people were there too, so they could listen, exchange while we were on site. And we had that small recording device, and we generated podcasts for the main public, more or less lectures. We had that on site, like the voice of the users or the voice of the future users. So that was a great start. And then we had, let's say, now we have a good survey, a good image of what the site is and what should it be now. So we started those co-production. Like we did workshops with that panel. The city was a bit nervous first. Like, what are you going to talk about? Are you going to talk about the building height or some subjects you cannot discuss at all? Or where would be the social housing? Because in the context, like, everyone had small houses with their own gardens, and all of a sudden say, like, this is going to be 600 social homes or council homes just behind your wall over there. Everybody's getting crazy. And so some subjects we cannot discuss. So there was one about places, like what should we find as amenities within the area. There was another one, how should we commute through the site, like where should be the bicycle, the main squares and all. And then the build form, but like very settled build form. And then we try to, I'll show you photos after that, but in every workshop, it was 7 or 8 tables with 5 to 6 people, and we chose one person from the public to actually talk to everyone and say, this is the result of what we thought would be great. So there's been a major one, and then there's a larger one with 300 people at the beginning. So it comes at the end, where the results of the workshops. So it's quite intense, a bit longer in the process, the usual process. We would not have that, and that, and this would have been done in probably a month, and we took 2.5 months to do it. And then there's another one, which is interesting in that one, the reuse of the material. If I show you the site, well, we have great buildings like that. It was a military architecture from the early 20th century. So we had like granite blocks in the corners. The carpentry is interesting. The roof tiles are interesting too, and those were meant to be demolished. So, well, this is the grid. We had to connect it with the city, and it's not an autonomous area. So we're, like I said, assessing what was happening around, and what was happening outside the site should help developing this one, and what's happening here should help what's happening over there. It's just the mutual presence. So a couple of listed buildings around here. The landscape, of course, is something very important to us, as I have 2 landscape architects in my team. So yes, to come back to my story, it's just so you can see the tables, like 5 to 7 person involved in the process. There's always a representative of the urban, 1 or 2 urban designers or a landscape architect with them, and someone who would represent the city as well around the table, because sometimes like the debate goes out of hand. Some old folk would come and say, oh, I heard like I'm going to be expropriated, and I received a letter, and just like, I don't have much to say. I did not send a letter, so I pushed on the back the guy from the city and was like, deal with that, please. And I don't want to be involved into that. I'm not a politician. I'm a urban designer. So it was a bit tricky. Some images, hand drawings that we produced to help people understand what would happen to the gardens, what type of houses or homes would be built, what would be the public realm scheme, where should you park your car, your bikes, the shops where they will be, and so on. Like I said, the reuse of the building. So we had that, it's more of a group of an architect than a practice or an office, a collective, maybe, I don't know the English word for that. It is more of an association. There are architects that want to do things in a different way, and they have that expertise of knowing what to do with the material we can get from the site. So very impressive images, but they were on the site and they were telling that guy over there, no, you should not demolish the building that way, and we will save the granite blocks. We put them on the side, and we will do something later on. So we have like a field of new materials, reuse material. It's very important for the economic of the project in the process. Once we were there, our mission was done. But the panel of inhabitants said, no, we like what we're doing. Like, we want to go more. I was like, well, it's nice to hear that, but we don't have much power to go forward. I advise you to go and talk to the mayor. And they went, they asked, we want to go on with that mission, what can we do? And we said, like, yeah, we can design prototypes with the material we have, so urban furniture, a small square, how we use the granite blocks, the timber structure. So we spent a weekend with a few blocks of foam and cardboard, and we worked with 20 people that were interested in doing so on the weekend. And the following weekend, that we had that participative site where we actually had tools and we built those benches. And well, one prototype is like that. And from that, we wrote a description for future benches that will look like these ones. Not all of them, we didn't have enough material to actually do the whole thing, but few of them will be just like that. And that's pretty much it for me.